The 656th regular Arizona Racing Commission meeting is being held on Thursday, October 12th, 2017 at 1110 West Washington Street, Suite 250, Phoenix, Arizona 85007. Yes, it is. You ready?
Ready.
Okay, we're on the record.
All right, I'd like to call this 656th regular meeting of the Arizona Racing Commission and welcome everybody here. Our fearless leader, Mr. Lawless, is on his way to Santa Clara. He's on the phone with us, but I'm going to try to take his place today. And looks like we don't have a whole lot going on, but it's nice to see the representatives from the Jockeys Guild here today and all the associated parties that are involved in horse racing. The first item is Ms. Goodwin needs to call the roll.
Commissioner Garay?
Here.
Commissioner Heupel?
Here.
Commissioner Lawless?
Here.
Commissioner McClintock?
Present.
Thank you.
Always have to be different.
All right. The first item of new business is Turf Paradise's request for approval of their 2017 charity dates. I don't think there's any opposition. Did you want to say anything? You guys have?
No. I move to approve.
Okay.
Second.
So we have a motion to approve Turf Paradise charity dates on Saturday, November 4th, 2017, Friday, November 24th, 2017, and Saturday, November 25th, 2017. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Anybody opposed or anybody else around? Okay, so motion carries.
Well, Commissioner Garay?
Yes.
Commissioner Lawless?
Yes.
Commissioner Heupel?
Yes.
Commissioner McClintock?
Aye.
Motion
Approved.
carries.
All right. The second item of business is Turf Paradise request for a new off-track betting facility, the Ivy, in Chandler, Arizona. And Dave, is there anything you need to tell us about? I guess, Greg, you're the guy to ask about that.
Thank
All
you.
the paperwork submitted.
Yeah, they requested this on September 27th. All the paperwork is in, including the city council approval. So we would recommend approval on this, given the fact that we would like 5 days from today before they can start, so we can check on licensing, make sure that we have all the OTD managers and things licensed. So with that, we would recommend approval.
Okay. I have a motion.
So moved.
Second.
All right, it's been,
Do we need to clarify that it's approved in
Caveat.
5 days?
right. So it's been moved and seconded that we approve the Ivy location in Chandler, Arizona for an off-track betting facility with a 5-day window for the racing department to inspect the facility and make sure everything's ready to go.
Okay.
Ms. Goodman?
Commissioner Garay?
Yes.
Commissioner Lawless?
Yes.
Commissioner Heupel?
Yes.
Commissioner McClintock?
C.
Okay, motion carries.
All right. So now we're moving on to information reports. We've gotten the safety report. Greg, would you like to?
Yeah, staff has been out there since September 5th. So almost every day we're out there looking at things, inspecting not only individual barns, but also the backside as well as the stands and the front side. Just got a couple things I wanted to bring out. The general assessment is the barn area is improving over the last 30 days. Since our last safety report in September, we've seen some of the staff out there, again, cleaning and painting some of the barns. Restrooms out there, as you all know, there's several restrooms placed throughout the barn area. We would like to have Turf Paradise let us know how often they clean those on any given week. Staff does go through and check them and see if there's any issues with that out there. We mentioned something about the A1 barn last month. The roof on that was replaced around October 2nd. Actually, there was work done on that, so that appears to be okay. Test barn late last season, there were a couple horses that reared up in some of the stalls, creating some holes in the top of the ceiling. I was told by Vince this morning that those repairs are being done.
How common is that a horse would rear up? My concern is you have electrical right above that. You have light, looks like two light fixtures and maybe an electrical conduit.
It happens.
Is there any risk of a horse hitting a light fixture or?
I mean, there's always the risk of that happening. However, there needs to be lights in there.
Yeah.
Because it
What's
does.
that ceiling height?
I'll have to check. Okay.
Yeah.
On that.
But does it happen often that they rear up and hit their heads on the drywall ceiling?
Not often, Mr. Commissioner, but it does happen. It's not a daily occurrence.
I can check on the height.
Yeah.
On that as well.
I don't know what we do about it. I mean, the height is the height, but
They're pretty pumped up after they won. I mean, there's some that are really pumped up, so there's always that danger of them. Vegetation out there, trees and weeds, they all look to be pretty well maintained. We did a quick inspection of the paddock area this week, and we noticed some fencing, as you will see, that will need to be repaired eventually. Doing a walkthrough at the end of September, we looked at the drainage. What I want to see there is the water's moving, that type of thing, so it appeared to be okay. Potholes, we talk about this almost every month. They'll occur when we have a rainy day, and we always alert Turf Paradise, and they go ahead and do their best patching as possible. We inspected the starting gate this week. Everything looked fine there, as well as the equine ambulance. Everything looks fine.
On the, I know you got the equine ambulance, but the other ambulance for the humans, is that properly in order?
Yes, I actually spoke with I've been out there a couple of days this week and spoke with the people that are in there. They've been there in the mornings as well. They're directly connected to Phoenix Fire. So my deal is I want to know who's in that ambulance, that they have advanced life support. They're to stable the patient if need be, and then Phoenix Fire will be called at that point in time. Main track appears to be in good condition, as well as the training track. So we'll do this on a monthly basis for you. If there's anything major we see, we'll bring it to your attention. We always bring it to Turf's attention, and they've been good about replacing things. So.
Thanks, Gabe. It's a good report. Good to see that everything that needed to be done has gotten done or is getting done. Looking forward to a great meeting. Director Casillas, do you have a budget report for us?
I believe that we do, as Lori Anderson, President. She will be providing that for you.
Okay.
Really nothing new to, Lori Anderson from the Department of Gaming. Nothing new or spectacular to report with the budget. We are still on track. We've currently only spent 17% of our appropriation. So we're well under, and we see no bumps in the road right now.
That's great.
Good news.
Thanks, Laura. Now we go to the permittee reports. American Greyhound Racing,
Nothing new to report at this time.
thank you. The county fairs, no one. Rito, Jay, I see you sitting out there.
Morning. Well, I had a wonderful summer. I missed last meeting. Jay Wells, the Rito Park Foundation president, and president of Rito Racing as well. 2018 is our 75th anniversary, and we've had a lot of good things happen to us. The $1 million gift that was redirected to the county, but the first $100,000 came in, and so the reassembly of the barns. We'll have 60 new stalls put up here shortly. They're going to bid within a week or so. Architects have finished with the plans. Last week we had a celebration at the historic Jelks home. Rukin Jelks was actually the gentleman that built the track, and between private funding that we raised and additional $100,000 from the county, the Rito Horse Racing Heritage Museum will hopefully open up in the spring. We're going to scramble like crazy to get it done for the opening day of the meet, but that might not happen. but we're going to keep our fingers crossed. Construction's always iffy. Putting in final touches on our package for renewal of our license. We also have been waiting on closing some financial deals that we've done to ensure the future of Rito is no longer in doubt. And so things look good on our end. It is our 75th anniversary. That's a real landmark for us. The county seems to have been changing their attitude, which was demonstrated by the gift that went to the Heritage Museum. So we're excited about things. I've been working with Greg and keeping him informed of the pace. We've got some financial stuff to tie up before we've got room to run, but we're hopeful that will be closed out before the end of the month. As of yesterday, it was 7 days away. We shall see how that works out, and we're hopeful for that all to go in the right direction. Any questions?
No.
Thank you, gentlemen. Good to see you.
Thanks, Jay.
Thanks, Jay.
Turf Paradise, Mr. Francia.
Vincent Francia, General Manager of Turf Paradise, Acting Chairman McClintock and Commissioners. Mr. Director, let me address some of the safety concerns and go right to the light, because I know the fixture you're referring to. I'll discuss it with our plant superintendent. I think the solution is a flat surface illumination. We can put a metal cage around the light. That would protect the light or protect the animal from hitting any live current. However, if you hit the metal structure, that might harm the horse too. So I think...
I just can't tell in that picture if it's glass. I don't know if it's a glass cover. If it's a glass cover, that could be dangerous for the horse.
Also,
Yeah.
I think flat surface illumination is probably the way to go.
Good, thanks.
To answer your question, horses sometimes do that. It's not a daily occurrence. Sometimes it will actually occur in the paddock when they're being saddled. They'll get frisky and up
Yep.
they go
Absolutely.
into the ceiling. In regards to the restrooms in the stable area and the showers, they're maintained daily. We have someone who's assigned to that particular duty. What remains an ongoing challenge is bathroom etiquette. I'm trying to think of a way to phrase it, but I can't get what I'm not saying.
We get
And that has to do with the cleanliness of the restrooms.
Okay.
The other thing, the two vehicles which are of supreme importance, both the ambulance equine and the human vehicle that carries the paramedics, they're maintained weekly. They go into the shop, our mechanic takes care of them, he has a log, I go over it. If anything is amiss, I want to know about it because those two vehicles have to be ready to go. To the meet itself, we're approaching the 1,300 mark in horses. 1,600 applications were given out, so we're pleased so far. An excellent opening day card. We're down to 72 hours and counting. And everything's going well there. The timing system is brand new for both the turf and the main course. It's been tested, and I believe the stewards, the Turf Paradise stewards, are interfacing with the timing people today to make sure their concerns are satisfied and they see the test in the room in which it actually takes place. So we're ready to go. If there's any questions?
No, thanks, Vince. We're just looking forward to a great meet this year.
Yes, we are too. We are too.
Tucson Greyhound Park, Alicia.
Nothing to add.
Thanks. Okay, and now we've got the optional industry stakeholder association updates. Anybody from the Arizona Counties Racing Association? The Arizona Greyhound Association.
I just spoke to Bill because he was babysitting my greyhounds while I was out of town. He said he's promising to get back to a meeting soon.
Okay, good. Arizona Quarter Horse Racing Association. I like this. Arizona Thoroughbred Breeders Association.
Can't let you break my record.
Good morning, Commission and Director. My name is Debbie Zimmerman. I'm here from the Arizona Thoroughbred Breeders. I'm happy to report our annual sale is coming along within 30 days now. And we have 93 yearlings, 5 of racing age, 1 weaning, and 7 brood mares.
How does that compare to last year, Deb?
Just about the same. We're just down a few on our racing age. but we don't close until Tuesday. Our last late closing date is Tuesday. So looking very good.
Good.
Thank you very
Good,
much.
thank you. HBPA?
Good morning, Commissioners and Directors. Leroy Guessman, the Arizona HBPA. I just want to report that we're all excited and been busy getting ready for the meet out there. We've had meetings with Greg and his staff at the Horseman. We had a general Horseman meeting yesterday, and everything has been going well so far, working with management at the track and with the Horseman. The horses maybe a little slow coming in, but now that we're up to 1,300, I think that's a good number. Entries have been good so far, so everything's good there. In our meeting yesterday, the horsemen are very excited to hear the report from J-Corps and the Avapai update. The horsemen are excited about the possibility of that being opened again. Anyway, we're ready for a great meet at Turf Paradise and ready to go. Any questions of me?
No, thanks, Leroy.
Thanks, Leroy.
Welcome back.
Thank you.
All right. J-Corps, update on the Yavapai Dam.
Tom Author, J-Corps Partners, representing Yavapai Downs. Mr. Director, Commissioners, just kind of want to give you a little update of where we are. Things are progressing. We're pretty much completed all our due diligence. We've new surveys, new environmental studies, all our consultants meetings. We've got all our property condition reports in. We are now paying all the bills for the USDA and the trustee up there, so we're confident we're going to be able to go ahead and close. We still have issues. We still need to get straightened out this income side of this with the OTB arrangements, and we'll be looking hopefully next meeting to get our plan approved. We've been out meeting with OTBs. We're encouraged with the results so far. But it's full speed ahead, and we've spent not a little bit of money going forward, and we're committed. We've even offered to release some of our earnest money to them, a substantial amount, and the answer was, gee, we're the USDA, we wouldn't know what to do with it. Don't you wish that happened more often?
Yeah.
But, so anyway, that's our update. I just wanted to assure everybody that we're pressing on. There's always some hurdles, but we're committed and we're confident we can get this thing put together. With that in mind, and maybe you may want to wait till the end, but our partner Corey Johnson is here today. He came in. We've got a number of meetings, and it might be interesting for you folks to hear what he has to say, and maybe he can field some questions too if that works for you.
Great.
We're still looking at I think last time closing in the next month or so.
Well, we're probably by the end of the year. We've, as I said, because of the OTB situation, we've extended a little bit, but we've done that by telling them we'll cover all the bills. So, we're paying about $5,000 a month for utilities and stuff. The fire alarm system broke, and I said, go ahead and fix it because we don't want the thing to burn down, while we're in the middle of this thing. So that's done. Been a lot of water damage up there that we had to repair. So it's the USDA's happy, I think, because it's not costing them any money. They obviously have a budget that they can't, don't have much flexibility in it. So Commissioner Gorey, that's really the plan. Is by the end of the year.
And Tommy, your goal is again to be open this summer.
Yeah,
This
we
upcoming
really
summer.
want to have a meet.
18.
Yeah. That's a little bit contingent upon permitting and all that kind of stuff, and some construction issues. But the construction is, if we get this thing closed in time and everything kind of foots and ticks, we're confident we can do something in 18. 19 hopefully will be a big year for us. In 18 we hope to introduce the track, have a nice meet, and get everybody enthused.
I think once you close, you're prepared to immediately get your permit application.
Yeah, in fact, to the extent any of that could happen contemporaneous with our due diligence process that we're doing now. I realize the difficulty in that is, you don't want to spend money and time with guys that don't own it yet, But on the other hand, the sooner the better, so. And we've been discussing that with Greg, and I think we feel like you guys have been very accommodating, and I think something's probably worked out that's fair.
Good.
Anything else? Do you want to hear from Corey now?
Thanks, Tom. Yeah, why not?
Without further ado, Corey, there you are.
Corey, welcome back to Arizona.
Thank you.
Wasn't here when you were here the first time, but I've followed your success at Lone Star and Kentucky Downs. And it's nice to have you back.
Yeah, well, thank you. Good morning. I'm here to just kind of reiterate what Tom said, and there's been a tremendous amount of progress done at Yavapai Downs. For example, Dennis Moore is one of the foremost track superintendents and builders in the world. He and his group have looked at the track, and we have a number now where we know what it's going to take to bring it up to first-class quality. Ann McGovern has agreed to handle the operations for the track, and she's had a great hand in coming up with the pricing and the different things that we need to do. So Ann has been the president of Ruidoso Downs. She's worked at Sam Houston and was part of the group with me that developed Remington Park. And then Midwest Construction is one of the two construction companies that have come in and given us pricing on all these different matters. And Midwest has done a lot of improvements, not only at Kentucky Downs with me personally, and I know they can get the work done in a first-class manner and in a timely manner, but they've also done over $10 million worth of work at both Remington Park and Lone Star Park. So the reason I'm here is that my first job out of college was at Turf Paradise, and when some people reached out to me and said, there's a chance to bring Yavapai Downs back, I thought that would be in the best interests of the Arizona racing and breeding industries, and I said, put me in, coach. I'm ready to help any way I can. And as you know, there was a plan where Yavapai Downs kept all the OTB or simulcast money from basically Memorial Day to Labor Day, and then the rest of the year Turf Paradise kept, the revenue. And we came in and we met with the horsemen. I've had a couple of conversations with Jerry Sims, and that plan did not seem practical at this time. Turf Paradise needs year-round revenue, and I think we would all agree that you have to have a strong track like Turf Paradise. In Kentucky, and I should back up and say I'm the president and part owner of Kentucky Downs, we have Churchill Downs and Keeneland. Those are keys to the success of Kentucky racing. But on the other hand, in Kentucky, what we've found over the last few years is we've been able to develop a year-round circuit, which has been critically important for jobs, agriculture, and the breeding industry. So it was obvious coming here that we weren't going to be able to go back to that old plan. And so what we came up with was a plan where we would develop our own off-track wagering facilities on a year-round basis and generate more revenue for the state and for the horsemen and the industry. And so that was our plan. I had a discussion with Jerry Sims, and I told him, I said, Jerry, we would not take any of your sites away from you. Even if they came to us, we wouldn't do that. Because what I found is horse players, they are deeply ingrained in their habits. When they go to one place, we're not going to be able to dynamite them out of that place to another one. So we want to be additive to the state. And there's a number of strategic moves that we can make, from Native American casinos to expanding throughout the state, and maybe some sports bars around Maricopa County. So we're looking forward to raising the amount of revenue. Another thing that could happen, and we've had preliminary discussions with the horsemen about this, there's a certain amount of money that you have to offer in purses for Yavapai Downs to be successful. And I don't want to get up here and tell you what that number should be. We would work with Leroy and the horsemen as to what that is. But let's just say that's $75,000 a day per race day. Could be $100,000, and again, that's not my call. That's really the horseman's call. Anything generated over that by the Yavapai Downs OTB circuit, that purse money would go to Turf Paradise. I think that just makes sense, because you have to have a strong track like Turf Paradise in your state. But on the other hand, we found in Kentucky, if you move money around and you create a year-round circuit, it's actually better for everybody. And I'll give you an example. In Kentucky, Kentucky Downs has moved almost $2 million this year to Ellis Park, which is a smaller track, and they race in July and August. Well, what that happened was that allowed horsemen to stay year-round in Kentucky and kept jobs in the state, kept the good horses running in the state, and we saw benefit at Kentucky Downs where we had a very successful season. So Ellis Park happened to be up 15% in their overall handle and their purses. Kentucky Downs was up 34%. And then Churchill Downs recently concluded a short meeting in September, and they were up 5%. So what's happened is the additional revenue has kind of raised the level for everybody. The horses are staying home, and today in central Kentucky, there isn't one stall open at either training centers or racetracks. So it's something that's working, and when I looked at the Arizona situation, I believe it's something that can really work well here. So the bottom line to this is there's been a lot of progress made. All the partners are ready to move forward and close, but the one thing that is lacking is an endorsement by this group of the preliminary business plan that we're talking about, because you can't close on a multi-million-dollar project without understanding where your revenue comes from. And so that's why I'm here today, to answer questions, give you more information, and just let you kind of present the situation where it stands today.
We appreciate you coming, Corey, and personally, I'm totally in favor of year-round racing in Arizona, but I think it's between you, Yavapai Downs, Turf Paradise, and the Horsemen to come up with a plan. There's not a whole lot we can do. We support, or I personally support your efforts to have year-round racing, and I think we would back that, assuming that the three groups can reach an agreement that works for everybody. So I'm from Evansville, Indiana, so I know what you guys have done for Ellis Park.
Yeah.
And we appreciate that.
Yeah, they had a great meet this year, and it really worked well.
And we'd like to see Arizona get back in the breeding business and racing improve here too. So,
frankly, it's going to take a year-round circuit, in my opinion, to get back in the breeding business, so those Arizona breds can basically stay home and run on a year-round basis.
yeah, well, like I said, I think it's between you guys, Turf Paradise, and the Horsemen to come up with a plan. And,
okay.
You know, from my standpoint, I can't speak for everybody, but I totally support you.
Okay.
If you can work this out.
Yeah, I definitely think it's exciting with all the negativity in our industry. You always hear once a track closes, it's almost impossible to get it reopened. I think if you guys can work together and get this done, it'll be exciting. And you know, in the greyhound racing, that's probably what killed it, was each track trying to run year-round itself, and kind of doing the circuit probably would have definitely saved greyhound racing. And so I think it's exciting what you guys are trying to accomplish here.
Corey, Tom had mentioned a few meetings ago that they were going to kind of rebrand Yavapai. Is there a name that's you guys have come up with yet, or talked about, or that you can make public at this time, or no?
To answer that, we've definitely talked about a number of names, and that I think when one is bringing back a product like a Yavapai Downs, there needs to be a rebranding.
Okay.
And candidly, I would suggest that we do a little bit of research on that, try some names on the public, and then move forward from there.
Okay. How many race days do you envision in, like, 18? And Tom said the next year would be bigger. From 18 to 19, what do you envision?
And when I answer this, I don't want you to think I'm answering it in a vacuum, because race dates are a very important part of the overall business plan. And if you miss and you race too many, then you've got serious problems. But if you don't race enough, then you're not maximizing the jobs and the effect on agriculture. So I'm going to preface that by saying we need to work with the horsemen and everybody else in the state. My instinct would be that you would have 30 to 35 days if you have the purse money to be able to support those. The challenge that we have this year, frankly, is not as much is going through the process, coming up with a plan that, as you mentioned, that we need to get everybody to agree to, and then we can get out there and start generating money through our OTB system. You know, if we get in late, then it would be impractical to run 30 or 35 days because you wouldn't have the purse money. Even if you wanted to take an operational loss, it doesn't do anybody any good that you don't have the proper amount of purse money to attract the horses. So ultimately, I see 30 to 35. We'd be open to more or less, and it all depends on the purse money. Wouldn't it be great if someday we're all working together, and this is in our contract at Kentucky Downs, where when we go over a certain level of purses, then the horsemen have the right to move that money around the state. And in the case of Kentucky Downs, they chose to move it to Ellis Park. Wouldn't that be great if we could all be working together? And purse money actually that's generated from, Yavapai Downs OTBs would go to Turf Paradise. That, to me, should be the goal of anything that we do.
Right. And I assume that's like 3 days a week, 4 days, 3 or 4 days
I
a
would
week?
do 3. I mean,
Three,
I think,
probably. Yeah.
Yes.
How many barns do you envision, or how many horses on site do you envision there?
Yeah, there's 800 stalls. We've got quite a bit of money in our plan to clean up the entire stable area, and I would hope someday all 800 stalls, would be taken. As you know, especially in quarter horse racing, you have a lot of training centers around, and so you may not use all your stalls, but I think everybody's goal should be to fill every stall.
Thank you, Corey.
That's good.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
Jerry?
Yes.
Are these there? Commissioners, Director, Greg, others?
Please state your name and...
Jerry Sims.
Thank you.
Turf Paradise. It's a lofty and great thought to think about having Yavapai run again. But the reality is that the industry has dramatically changed in the 17 years since I got here. I look back at our purses, and we have a chart we can show you, we will show you, and we'll be giving it to Corey and his group. In 2008, we were giving out 13.78 million in purses. 13.78 million in 2008. That was without running in the summer. And as you remember, Phoenix Greyhound Park was open, and therefore we weren't allowed to show OTBs anything to operate after 7 o'clock. So now, this last year, including we run all summer, including we run night as long as there's racing in our OTBs at the track, we were about $10 million. So we're 35–40% down with a lot more opportunity, and we're still down. What does that tell anybody? I mean, racing has gone down. And if you look around the country, racing without other forms of income has plummeted or gone out. It's just that simple. Now, Corey and I and Tom had a conversation over the summer. They'd asked for a conference call, and we had a conference call. They say I misunderstood, but what I heard was in the early plan, they're not going to come in with and go after in the areas of our OTBs. When I suggested to Corey a couple weeks ago in a conversation, and he was just closing his meet, he was in the car driving back, so I know that was a Friday. Corey, I suggested a 5-mile radius. Now, 5-mile radius means anyone that lives within 2.5 miles of either one. It's only 2.5 miles to either one. And Corey was definitely against is it fair to say, against even a 5-mile radius. Now, I know from putting in OTBs around Arizona that we will tend to cannibalize our own OTBs, but we're doing it at our expense to get more revenue for the horsemen. So when we opened up K. O'Donnell's, as an example, in Scottsdale, and we have the hangar, which used to be Brennan's, we do have, contrary to what Corey's experience is, where you can't get people out of OTVs, we've split, and a lot of people go to K. O'Donnell's that used to go to the hangar. I just talked to Dennis about it 2 days ago, and he said, yeah, half the guys went over to the new one. We think we get additional business. He thinks also that there's additional new business at K. O'Donnell. Because if you go through the back of the airport way, Scottsdale Airport, you can be there in 2 miles. But if you go on the surface streets, I've done the math and done the car myself, it's 5 miles. So you can split your revenue. Now, if they come in and they run OTVs near our OTVs, we're going to be put out of business.
Well, you know, this commission's goal was not to hurt Turf Paradise in any way. I mean, we'd like to see year-round racing, but it's really that it's not up to us. It's up to you guys. It's up to you and the authors,
I haven't
and
seen
Corey
anything.
and the horsemen.
I told Corey we're going to be, and I told Tom we're going to be sending him a letter. And sorry that letter doesn't go, but we had somebody out of town, and we'll be getting that letter for Tom. And we want to explain to them the problems it's going to create. And frankly, as much as I enjoy them going, and if we could have a self-sustained OTB, a self-sustained Yavapai, they used to run 50 some days. Now they're going to run 30 some days. That's a 40% cut in racing. It's a lofty goal. I told Corey the other day, I said, if we ever got slot machines, got a casino, they wouldn't bother us at all being up at Yavapai. That wouldn't be competition for us up there. That'd be great. But I told them if we had, I want to be upfront with them before they bought this place. If they decided they wanted to have the machines he has back there, instant racing, we would fight it adamantly. Because we've got casinos 20 minutes, 30 minutes in either direction with Glendale and Scottsdale. We've got real casinos to contend with. So therefore, we couldn't build a whole new casino and spend the kind of money it would take. We have on our sheets that we've turned about $500 million, and including parking structures and so on, just to have instant racing machines. And if we took Turf Paradise now and just put instant racing machines inside our facility, it isn't going to get much. You got real casinos to contend with table games and all kinds of things, 20, 30 minutes in each direction. So, as much as I don't want to be a blank damper on what their plans are, but if it's going to ruin Turf Paradise and put us out of business, if I take away from that 10 million and change, I got one of my horses sitting right here, they'll tell me we won't get horses. They just won't show up. Now, if we could run 33 days like Yavapai, our purses would be great. But they don't want us cutting. We don't want to cut. We can't keep staff and so on doing cutting more days. We've already cut about 25 days out of our races. We've already cut from 9 races a day to 8 races a day in order to accomplish that. So I'm trying for 17 years.
I definitely think, I know I've been here for 6 years, and every OTB comes through us for approval, and I think going forward, we would definitely be questioning any new one and, any conflict with an existing one, especially, right now we know any of them that are coming are all yours. If in the future, if there's another track opening them up, I think that would definitely be a question on our part.
We would be fighting not only here, but in the cities. We would be opposing. But anyway, thank you for hearing me.
Jerry, just so you know, I when you had mentioned that the other meeting, a 5-mile radius, I took a map and went to the website, looked up all the locations of your off tracks.
Yeah.
There wouldn't be one in Maricopa County.
You're right. And
You can't open
you're right.
another one in Maricopa County based on your 5-mile radius.
You're exactly right.
Yeah.
And even that would cannibalize us. So if they're going to come into and go 2 miles away or 3 miles away from down the street from one of ours, okay, I'm sorry, taking too long.
That's all right. We understand the ultimate salvation of racing is going to be other forms of gambling at the racetrack. if we don't get that someday, there's probably not going to be any more horse racing. But, you know, like I said, it's nice for us to know this. We're here to support horse racing any way we can. But this is a solution that's going to have to be worked out between the three groups who are involved in it. I mean, the only thing that involves us is there won't be any need for a racing commission.
I'm open to meet anytime. Anytime you guys want to meet.
Yeah, we got very smart people.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Gary. All right, now the last item is the Jockeys Guild, and we're fortunate today to have three representatives of the jockeys. Darrell Hare, who I got to see race over 30 years ago at Keeneland, Churchill, and Oaklawn, and Scott Stevens and Jake Barton, who I've had the pleasure of watching ride the last 30 years approximately since I've been in Arizona. So we'd like to welcome Darrell to say a few words.
Good morning.
Morning.
To the commission.
Welcome.
My name is Darrell Hare, and I am the Western Regional Manager for the Jockeys Guild. Former jockey. I've been in this business all my life. My uncle's trained. My father was a rider. My only brother Timmy was a jockey also. And I've been in this position as the Western Regional Manager for the last 17 years. And my territory covers the whole Western region. I have Montana, Wyoming, Arizona, Washington, Idaho, California, Arizona. So this part of the country, we have in all our riding colonies, we have guild representatives. And Jake and Scott are the guild representatives in our colonies here. So we work close. And I just, if you don't mind, like to read you a little history of the guild.
Sure.
And it's just a few sentences. The years leading up to 1940 and the formation of an organization was to speak for the jockeys were filled with frustration and pain. There was widespread misuse of power over the jockeys, and very few horsemen or track managements were sympathetic to the needs of the riders. In the late 1930s, several jockeys held secretive meetings to discuss the idea of raising funds to assist injured or disabled riders and their families of jockeys fatally injured on the racetrack. Some riders were blacklisted and punished when suspected of attending the secret meetings. The actual formation of the Jockeys Community Fund and Guild in 1940 was precipitated by the racing injury of Sammy Rennick. When Eddie Arcaro visited Rennick, who was recuperating in the hospital from a broken leg, their discussions led to the formation of an organization that would represent the concerns of jockeys. So that was close to 80 years ago. And we represent, with active and retired riders, around 1,300 jockeys. And we work close with the managements throughout the nation and follow protocols to make racing as safe as we can for the horses and riders. We have, at any given time, approximately 60 permanently disabled riders. And we have, on average, a little over 2 riders that die every year as a result of spills. So we're always trying to make things safer and trying to communicate with the racetrack operators to make things safer and better for the riders. And we work real close with the riders. So we're here to answer any questions, or anytime I'll be showing up here more often, I guarantee.
Well, definitely safety is a big issue, and I just want to make sure you feel comfortable here in Arizona that the safety issues are addressed. And
yeah, that's one reason why we haven't been there is they have. If we bring something up to Vince, it's been taken care of. The last couple of years, they did a real good job with the racetrack, and you know, we get questioned a lot on our ambulance because we don't have an actual physical ambulance that follows us. But any racetrack that we ride at, they cannot transport you in that ambulance. They have to bring another one in because they can't continue to run the races. And we probably have, because we do have the Phoenix Fire Department, it's those guys' day off. We have the best paramedics in the entire country are here. So
I feel safer at this racetrack with the paramedics that we have at any track I've ever ridden at.
Well, that's good to
Yes,
hear.
yeah.
Wow.
Well, we're glad you guys took the time out of your schedules to come and visit us. We don't expect you to be here every month. I mean, there's no reason for you to, and I know any issues you have, you can work with Vince and work with the people at the track and get those ironed out. If you can't, we'd love to have you come and tell us what the problem is and see if we can't help you work something out. But more than anything, it's just, we appreciate you coming, taking the time to come see us.
Yeah, and it's the one meeting I missed. I finally heard from the Jockeys Guild. It's on.
We knew you were going to be on phone, that's why we decided to come today.
They heard you were going to be here.
Yeah,
we know you want
exactly.
tips.
Exactly.
Guys, thank you.
Thank
Yes, we
you.
appreciate you coming.
All right, now we're down to the summary of current events affecting the Arizona Racing Commission. And only commission members or the director may report. Anybody have any current events affecting the Racing Commission?
Do we have the dates when we're going to get the briefs? I'm going to be traveling a little bit.
That I'll have to have Camila
Okay.
provide to you guys.
Identification of any matters to be placed on future agendas.
No, that I'm aware of.
Okay, I don't believe we have anything. Corey, I got that this is a call to the public, and I don't know if you have anything else you want to add, or you're welcome to.
Sure. We're here to, work with the industry. We can't move forward unless we have a revenue source to even generate purses. So I just want this commission to understand that. You can't close on the deal until you do that. So I'm hopeful that the Horsemen and Turf Paradise and the Yavapai group can get together and come up with some solution.
Well, I'd love to come listen in to any meeting that you guys have with the Horsemen and Turf Paradise, and anything I could do to help. I'd be happy to try to get this worked out. I mean, I know it's a tough issue to work out because there are only so many dollars, and got to make it all work. But like I said, we're in favor of year-round racing, and we'd love to see it work out.
And last but not least, Mr. Chairman, I have a lot of experience in gaming at tracks. Obviously, at Kentucky Downs, we have a type of gaming, but the business plan for Yavapai Downs is based on pari-mutuel wagering. It's not, we felt like we would be getting way ahead of ourselves in the industry if we took a flyer and said, we think we can get some type of gaming, be it pari-mutuel wagering on historical horse races or casino gaming. So we're here before you with a racing business plan, and that's first and foremost with us.
Thank you for coming.
And I do understand the need for alternative, forms of revenue in a state where you have a lot of gaming competition. So.
Yeah. Well, we'd love to see more revenue and bigger purses and better horses and, the whole shooting match. So, but like I said, we're not the people who can make the decision. That's up to you guys. But any way we can help, let us know.
Thank you.
We'd love to.
Appreciate the opportunity.
Thanks for coming. Darrell, you have something?
Yes, sir. Members of the commission, the riders would love to
I'm
see
sorry,
Yavapai.
please state your name again for the
I'm Darrell
record.
here.
Thank you.
The riders would love for Yavapai to open again because there would be more where they wouldn't have to pack up and leave. They could just stay here year-round, and for them to be with their families and close, more job opportunities, more money for the riders. We've been working with Corey over the years. He really cares for racing, and he does the right thing. So
Yeah.
it's always an honor to be around Corey Johnson, because he has it all in his heart. He
Yeah.
loves the game, and so we're all for our pie opening again.
Well, that's an important factor. I mean, jockeys, obviously, you gotta have jockeys to have a race meet. And so we're glad to have your support.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Stacy Campo.
Good morning, and thank you so much for taking the time to let me speak. I'm Stacy Campo. I am an Arizona breeder. Also, I own and train racehorses at Turf Paradise. Turf Paradise is my home. I mean, I will never say a bad word about that place due to the fact it's in my backyard. Being here in Arizona and raising these Arizona horses, we love being there. I mean, weather, everything. But there is one thing that kind of hurts us a little bit, is trying to get the breed horses into races. And why it's so hard is because we actually were able to have races actually fill that were 100% Arizona bred. But since Yavapai has closed and some of the other, the fair circuits, it's kind of hard to get our breed races to go. We don't have the horses there. I mean, there's a few of us that are diehard Arizona people that are going to keep, racing here and running our horses here under Arizona bred. But if we were able to get year-round racing again, it's really going to benefit not just our, breeding, but we've got other farms here that are year-round that have training tracks. Fleming's is one. We've got Hidden Springs, Little Kentucky. They all also stand horses too. Stallions that are Arizona bred. It's hard to promote these stallions when really nobody, wants to have Arizona bred, since the races don't even fill anyways. But if we did year-round racing, it's amazing how many people would be up to breed more horses. We got our money back. My dad just recently got a check from the state. That's exciting. Some of the horses were claimed that my dad didn't have to pay the vet bills or pay for the training, including, that's me. But it's neat to start getting those outside checks. And it's really neat what Jerry has done with the breeders, because it does keep us alive. We now are going to publicly stand one of our horses here in Arizona this year. So we're going to open it up, and we're hoping people are going to want to breed. But how exciting if we did have a horse that stands here that people actually would want to breed to and run here year-round. Just to see our babies on the ground. They're excited to see our babies, coming from other breeders. I mean, it's just going to be a neat part about Arizona and staying alive and racing. I have so many of these farms that I talk to on a regular basis that I would love to see this open up, just so they can actually get their horses out too. But I mean, Turf Paradise by far, I've been to other tracks. I actually rode to Kentucky Downs and had a horse run there. I've been to Ellis Park, I've been to Churchill, I've been to Iowa, I've been to Minnesota. I've had horses run all over California. And I cannot imagine being anywhere other than Arizona. I've built a farm here for that reason, just because this is home. But there are so many of us that will breed horses, which would absolutely get more horses for Turf Paradise. If we're able to run year-round, we got these breeds coming, we're going to have more fit horses. I accidentally took the summer off. Well, really not accidentally, not by choice. My health hasn't been very well. I did not run anywhere this summer. I turned everybody out. I don't have horses fit at the moment to run. But if we did have a place like Yavapai, I could have maybe hired somebody to maintain some of my horses and get them ready for turf, that right off the bat I'd be able to help him fill these races. But unfortunately, I had to take the summer off. But I'm getting better, and I'm going to push this. I'm going to push our stallion. I'm going to push Arizona people to keep breeding here. I'm a big advocate about breeding here, and like I said, I have to thank Jerry for giving us a place to go, because, like I said, I would never not be here if it wasn't for Jerry. And that track means everything. But to have year-round for the breeders, sorry, but hands down, we'll have more horses for him when the meet starts.
Well, thanks, Stacy. And that's what we all want. We want the breeding, Arizona breeding, to flourish again.
Absolutely, and we're willing to do it. The farms are still here. We just don't have the clientele like we used to, but we're still here. We're still up and running.
Yeah, it's just a matter of economics.
That's all it is.
If
And
we-
we're all ready to start dropping. I mean, I breed in Kentucky and drop in Arizona. I mean, we breed $25,000 stud feeds in Kentucky, and they dropped in Arizona this year for turf paradise. I mean, the money is a big deal, but, you know, like I said, we're still trying to promote Arizona racing in a different way. We're
Sure.
getting just to also bring better pedigree into Arizona and for the breeding aspect, to have that pedigree, because we were kind of limited in our pedigree. Not anymore. There's so many people breeding outside they're bringing here. We will help fill races. I promise we'll help fill races for Yavapai and Turf Paradise. I promise there'll be more horses.
All right.
So, but thank you for your time. I appreciate it.
Help us bring everyone together.
Absolutely.
Kevin?
I didn't sign up, but I'd like to speak if I could, if anybody else.
I'll give you my permission. As long as Cassie is okay with it.
It's okay.
No chance of breaking my red.
Hi. My name's Tim
15 minutes.
and I am an owner and trainer and a breeder. And when Yavapai run, I had a farm about 5 miles from there. And I raised about 12 foals a year. And when it closed, I closed. And if this would reopen, you will see a lot more farms come back, and you'll see more breeds. And I don't think Mr. Sims really understands what he was just saying up there. We did have about 13 million subs a year. It was the handle for the horsemen or the money that was given away. Now we're down to about 10. With Arizona racing year round, that will come back. Your horses will come back. You won't have 1,300 head on the grounds now. You'll have the 16, and we'll handle about 2,000 head up there. With horse population, your handle will go up. The way Turf Paradise is going right now, we're going to be done really quick. You see the slide. We've got to do something to integrate more horses in the state. Yavapai is a very good way to do that. It won't hurt Turf Paradise. It will help Turf Paradise. I think Turf Paradise is taking the wrong stand against this right now. We do have to have some kind of out gaming against the racing machines, horses. That may be the answer. We're not just here for Turf Paradise, guys. We're here for the whole industry. We've got to start realizing that. And if we don't, we're going to be a lot of trouble.
Well, like I said, all day long, you guys, horsemen, track owners, potential track owners, you got to get together and work this out.
I can speak for the horsemen. They are for it.
Okay.
And hopefully we get Turf Paradise on board.
Yeah, I think it's just a matter of coming up with a plan that doesn't take money out of their pocket.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin. All right. I think that's the end of that. I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Announcement.
You need to do the announcements.
Oh, announcements. The next regular Arizona Racing Commission meeting is tentatively scheduled to be held Thursday, November 9th, 2017 at 10 a.m. in this room. And love to see you all come back then.
Okay, now.
I now make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second it. I had to drag it out.
Moved and seconded that we adjourn. You're not going to.
Okay, this meeting is adjourned. Time is 10:58. It's 10:58. It's 10:58. It's 10:58. It's 10:58. It's 10:58. It's 10:58.